everybody, and welcome back to the Stamperia Blue Dream mini album tutorial series designed for Scrap and Create. In this video, we're going to begin decorating page 5 of our album, so stay tuned. From the darker blue colored cardstock, I've cut 2 pieces. Both of them measure 3/8 by 4 3/4. Now I'm going to take one of these pieces and add it here to this small section just past my first layer that holds my frame. So I'm just going to place it here. There will be a border around all sides. It's just up against the edge of my frame, and it fits perfectly on this piece. Now I'm going to jump ahead and open this up, and the other piece is going to go now on the back side in the same exact area. Once I have this piece on, I'm going to cut 2 pieces of that same cardstock to 1/2 inch by 4 3/4. Now for the first piece, we're going to apply this to the left-hand side of this page here. There's another one of these little sections holding the second section of my page up onto the page. So I'm going to be placing my piece here right next to the edge of my paper here, and it's going to give you that border around 3 sides. Then we're going to open up this whole section, and we're going to place the second piece right here in this section between my base of the page and my flap to the side. Now that I have that piece on, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to start from the beginning. We're going to be adding our pages. So we've already got this done. If you remember, we have our frame here with the opening at the top. We're going to use one of the pieces of paper here to decorate. We're going to use this one, and we did cut this already when we first started our pages. So this was cut from the 12 by 12 paper when we did the video decorating the very first page of the album. So I'm just going to adhere this directly down to this page. Next, I have a 4 by 6 photo mat that I'm going to place here in the center of my page. But I want to make sure that when this is closed, that this hides my frame, hides my photo mat. So I don't want it to be sticking out the side at all. So I'm going to make sure that this is centered here on my page when I glue this down. Now that I have my photo mat on, I'm going to place my ephemera piece on this side of my page. So I'm only going to be taking off the backing of this lower part and the beak of my bird so that the rest of it will still have backing and the photo will slide behind it. Once I have the ephemera piece on, I'm going to go ahead and close this flap. So I've glued one of my starfish pieces and one of the small shell pieces here. Then I've measured up 1/4 inch and over 1/4 inch into this piece here, and I've pierced a hole. I'm going to use another one of my little pieces to create a swing tab that's going to go here, but I'm going to back this one on some cardstock so that it's a little bit sturdier. So I'm just going to take my piece first, apply my adhesive, place it right on my cardstock, and then I'm going to fussy cut around this piece. Next, I'm going to pierce a hole down through this cardstock piece. Then I'm going to take my brad and insert it down through that hole I just pierced in my piece. And then I'll insert this down through the hole on the page. I'll open up the prongs on the back side. Now I need to make sure when I put this down that my swing tab clears this. It just barely clears it. So if you do this, and it doesn't clear, you will need to re-pierce your hole a little bit further over. So now my swing tab is going to swing over to catch that. And then when it's open fully, this will open as well. Next, I've cut 2 pieces of my twine to about 9 inches. I'm going to open this. I'm going to place one here in the center on this side of the page, placing about a 1/2 inch or so on the page. And then I'm going to place the other one over here in the center of this flap, right at the edge of the page, again putting about a 1/2 inch on my page. We're going to start on the base of the page. So I have one 4x6 photo mat that's going to go here, and I have two 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 inch photo mats, and they're going to go here. From the dark blue paper, I have a tiny piece that measures 3/8 by 2 3/4. It's going to go here between these pieces. I have 2 of the lighter blue. They are cut to 1/2 inch by 6 inches. And these pieces are going to go here and here. And then I have 2 pieces of this paper. It's from the 12 by 12. I've cut these to 1 inch by 8 inches, and I'm going to place one here. And then I'm going to place one here. So I'm going to go around the page. I'll start with these 2, then I'll add these pieces, and then these ones in the middle, making sure to line everything up so there's a nice small uniform border around all of my pieces. Now that I have all of these on my spread, I'm going to take this small palm tree and place it here. So you can do this where it meets in the middle of all these pieces and the stem of the tree is, or the trunk of the tree is just kind of in the middle here, or you can place it down here, and then this is going to be more on this and this, but not so much on this one. And that's how I'm going to place mine. So I'm just going to remove the backing off of the trunk of the tree and this little piece here at the top, and I'm going to leave the backing on the most of the leaves on the back so that my photo will slide up underneath. Now that my tree is on the page, I'm going to come over here to this flap. First, I've got 2 photo mats that are 3 inches by 4 inches. They're going to go here and here. From this paper here, I've cut another small piece. It measures 5/8 of an inch by 4 inches. And then I have 2 pieces here that are cut to Then I have 2 pieces here that are cut to 1 3/8 by 6 3/4. One's going to go here, one's going to go here. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere all of these pieces onto the flap, and then we'll come back and add a decorative piece. I've gone ahead and added the flower piece here so that each of the sides is open for the photos to slip up underneath. So now we have this part of the page finished. We can go ahead and close that, and then we will tie these strings closed. Next, I'm going to take my final 2 charms. I've got the cat and the sailboat, and I'm going to put these on the ends of my twine, tie them and tie a knot in it to keep these on here. I did go ahead and trim the ends of my pieces so that there wasn't a long piece of my twine hanging down. And I think I like the size of this, but if you want to trim yours so that the bow is smaller and these don't hang down as far, you can always do that too. So now we are finished with the front of page 5. It's time to move on to the back of page 5. This is the paper that we're going to be using for the front of the page. So we're going to first cut the piece for the right-hand side. So I'm going to cut from this side of the paper 3.5 inches. From this piece, we're going to cut the top to 5 3/4. That's basically going to be right at the edge of the water. I do need to trim this piece. I should have done it first, but that's okay. I'm going to trim this down so it's at 4.5 inches. I'm going to trim this to 4 3/8 of an inch. Same thing with this piece. So we're going to adhere this piece down, we're going to adhere this piece down, and we'll adhere this piece down. I did forget that I needed to trim this piece down, so I trimmed this to 2 inches so that it would fit on this flap. I was thinking that the flap was up underneath of here, so this is trimmed down to 2 inches. So now that all of my papers are on, we're going to go ahead and open up and come inside here. Next, we're going to cut a piece of the lighter blue cardstock to 4.5 by 6 inches. And we're going to be placing this in this upper left-hand corner of the page. Once this paper is on the page, I'm going to add my adhesive first to my pocket here. And this is where I also need to bring in my tag. So the tag is going to go here. So I'm going to adhere the bottom portion of this pocket closed as well, because I don't want that tag to slide down in this area. So this is about 2 1/4 inches from the bottom edge. That's all sealed. And then we have the pocket for the tag. And then we're going to make this a pocket as well. So I'm going to apply my adhesive up both sides of this pocket and adhere this down to the page. For the top flap, I have a white mat that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/4. It's going to go here just above the score line, and then I have the same paper here. It's a 1/2 inch by 4 1/4. It's going to go at the top of the flap up here. Now that I have my paper on here and here, I'm going to take this piece, I've peeled the backing off the entire piece, and I'm just going to adhere it down here to the corner of the page. And then I have this little small flower, and I'm going to adhere this one up here at the top of the page. Unfortunately, I forgot to film this when I made this. I cut a piece of cardstock to 3 inches by 4 3/4 of an inch. Then I have 2 white photo mats that measure 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. Then these pieces measure 3/4 by 2 3/4. And they're from the 8 by 8 paper here. This is one of the pieces that was from the center of a frame that we did for one of our pocket pages. So I've got my small photo mat that I'm going to place here in this pocket. Now I'm going to go ahead and close this pocket, and I'm going to bring in my tag. So I've used my darker paper here, and I've added my piece to the front of it, and then I'm going to place my tag here in the pocket to close my page. So now page 5 is finished and ready to go into the album. I have my album ready to go. Time for putting the final page in. So I'm going to start by adding my adhesive to the front of the 1/2 inch tab section at the top of my hinge. Then I'm going to open up my page and place this down on my hinge just past that score line, and then lining everything up so that it's straight across top and bottom, and then burnishing this down. Then I'm going to flip my page over, add my adhesive to the back of my hinge section. And then I'm going to add my adhesive to the bottom of my pocket so that I can seal it shut. Then I'm going to close this down, and I'm going to burnish onto the hinge and so that the pocket is closed. So now we have all of our pages in the album. The last thing we have to do is cover the inside covers. We'll come to the back panel and add a little bit there, and then we'll be completely finished with the album. So stay tuned for the next video. And if you are new to the series, don't forget to check out the description box below, where all of the Stamperia Blue Dream papers are linked to the Scrap and Create website, where you can purchase those if you want to follow along.